Welcome to MTG Ectoplasm, your home for Spirit Tribal and Magic the Gathering. On this episode, I'm going to be doing a beginner guide slash budget deck for the new player. And if you're an existing older player that's been playing this deck for a while, it's good to get a little refresher. Just saying. In segment number 2, I'm going to be talking about the direction of MTG Ectoplasm. It's going to change forever, and if you've been paying attention to the show, I've had a major announcement going on, and I'm going to tell you finally who my special guest will be. Then finally, the shout out section, where I'm looking for the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme. Are you excited? Because I know I am. So let's get this thing started, shall we? Let's go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on this episode. I am your host, Dwight, aka D Blanco, a medium that wears an extra large. You can reach out to me on Twitter. That's right, Twitter. You can follow. Please do that for me. Or you can reach out to me at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. That's right. You can reach out to me directly and let me know how am I doing. Am I doing a good job, a bad job, or I shouldn't quit my day job? And then finally, mtgectoplasm.com, where I have my personal website where I put up and load all my past episodes, my extensive library there. And if you want to donate or sponsor an episode just like this one, you can do that there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that the pleasantries are over and said and done with, I have two things to ask of you. Two kind, wonderful things I'm begging of you. All right? Wherever you're streaming this podcast, there's usually a like, a follow, subscribe button. Hit that thing for me. I'm not charging you $1. I'm not charging you a peso, an inti, a euro, a rupee, a ruble. I'm not charging you nothing. Do me a favor. Hit that thing for me. I'm just asking kindly. And then the second thing I'm going to ask you kindly is, do me a favor. Tell your friend, tell your family, hey, I am a spirit guide. Maybe they like spirits, maybe they don't, but I do bring up some Magic Gathering points and rumors that some other people don't discuss, and they may want to hear it. So, with that being said, I'm asking you kindly. I'm down on bended knee. Don't make me beg. Now, my wife will tell you I'm good at begging, but don't make me beg. Now, ladies and gentlemen, now that I have now officially said and done, it's now time to start segment number 1. And in segment number 1, I wanted to bring up something because of a listener. A listener reached out to me on Twitter. And the individual's name is a long name on Twitter, obviously, because, that's what we do. The young man's name was Ice in My Veins Gaming. He actually has his own little small channel on YouTube. He plays video games. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what it is. I stopped playing video games years ago because I get motion sickness. And it's sad. It's tragic. I know most of you are boohooing for me. But the only things I can actually play anymore is the retro gaming like Super Mario Brothers and Super Mario World. Other than that 3D stuff, my brain goes kaput. But Ice in My Veins Gaming reached out to me and said, you know what, Dwight? I have a budget deck. I'm just got into spirits because my girlfriend loves merfolk and my other friends into this deck. You know what? Tell me what you think. Look at my sideboard. Is there anything I can improve? Is there anything you would do differently? And it hit me. I was like, you know what? Bravo to this young man reaching out to me and, seeing what others may say. And then also I have to give a shout out to my wife because she's been bothering me going, I want to learn spirits. Why won't you just give me a spirit budget deck and teach me how to play spirits? It's like, I know you love the deck. Why should I not love what you love? And that's a good wife there, right? We can only hope our girlfriends and wives are all like that. That's why she's my ravishing Renata. But I'm done kissing her ass. So what I'm trying to say is, ladies and gentlemen, even if you're experienced, it's good to slow down, kick back. I know there's one case happening all over the country now. I know I got one starting up tomorrow. Actually, yeah, tomorrow. And then there's another one starting next week. So it's time to sit back, relax. Let's look at spirits. Now, I decided to go with the Azorius, the blue-white build in Modern. Now, I know some of you, the Bant people, are like up in arms. I can see you grabbing your pitchforks and your torches and want to storm the castle going, no, how about us people in Bant? Where's the love for Bant? Well, I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I do enjoy Bant. But unfortunately, it is not budget friendly. It's far from budget friendly. Let me explain to you why, shall we? Let's go through the laundry list. Number 1, Noble Hierarch. Not a cheap card. Now it's running 3 Birds of Paradise. Not a cheap card. It's running 4 Cocos. Not a cheap card. And then let's consider also the fact that the land base, not that cheap either. From the fetch lands to the dual lands to the, come on. Even the Horizon lands, God forbid. It's expensive. So my goal was to sit there and discuss and break down a budget-friendly deck. And you'll see that many creatures in the non-budget deck make the budget deck. Almost every single one. Now, there is one card that I had to substitute and make it a creature because that one card's a little expensive. It's just, yeah. And even some of the land cards I had to substitute to make them cheaper. So I decided this is where I went. I decided to just pick cards that were $10 or less. Now, I know you're saying, well, wait, that's not overly cheap. But you got to consider $10 may or break somebody, but it's a lot cheaper than what's out there. Currently, Raging Pikey, who came in first place last week, and we will get into what he or she may have done this week. His current build is over $1,100. Okay, so I had to bring it down a little. So let's see what we can do with this build and see if it meets your mustard. I don't know the phrasing, but hopefully you like it. So for the beginner, let me educate you on spirits. Spirits is a tempo deck. Now, for many out there, the word tempo has a negative connotation. It's like evil. It's like vinegar coming out of people's mouths. It's just an awful taste. Now, the problem is I don't see it as a negative thing. I see it as a positive. Because you have your aggro decks, you have your control decks, you have your mid-range decks, so on and so forth. What tempo just means, it's an in-between aggro and control. Our goal is to sit there, put creatures out there and attack, and then have the control version as our interaction with our opponent so we can figure out if our battlefield stays the same or adapts to what our opponent is doing. Because they're always going to try to manipulate our way of play. And it's for us to sit there and go, no, sir. Or ma'am, not going to happen. So that's the tempo side, the control side. We want to make sure the interactivity between our opponent and us is one-sided and it benefits us. Now in spirits, in the spirit deck, there are 3 main abilities. Okay? The first one is flying. Okay, flying is a simple ability. It's just evasion. In general terms, it means it's just a passive way of saying unblockable. Realistically, it's not unblockable because it can be blocked by another flyer. But realistically, how many true flyers are out there in the game? Not many. So in a passive pseudo way, it's unblockable, which is beneficial to us because what is the main goal of this deck? To make sure our opponent loses 20 life, right? So the more damage we can get in and find ways to damage them, bravo, good job. Now the next thing these spirits have is hexproof. Just simply means that it cannot be the target of spells or abilities by our opponents. We can target our creatures, but our opponents cannot. And because of that reason, it makes it difficult with them to manipulate our board state. It's going to take a board wipe entirely or something to target the entire world, that battlefield, to deal with them. And then finally, Flash. One ability I truly enjoy, but this can actually be one of the more difficult abilities for new players to master. Yeah, you heard that right, ladies and gentlemen. It can be a very difficult thing. For example, Spectral Sailor, just a simple 1/1 creature, has Flash. Also has flying, but we'll get to that in a minute. Basically, this allows us to play the creature on our opponent's turn as an instant. Now, sometimes this card or cards with Flash can be misplayed. For example, cards that I will discuss later, like Spell Queller or Rattle Chains, because there are times where we're unsure when to play these cards. Do we hold these cards back, or do we put them out immediately? These are simple cards that I like to call the rope-a-dope. You lean against the rope, you let your opponent punch you, hit you, and then all of a sudden, bang, here comes your uppercut, and you knock them out. So Flash can be a simple concept, but can be difficult for the new player to master. Now, the main difference between the Spirit Tribe and every other tribe out there is this. Ready? We protect our own. Now, I know some of you that are elf people coming in and listening to this episode. I know some of you that are zombies and vampires and so on and so forth. It's like, what do you mean you protect our own? We protect our own. We give our creatures +1/+1. No, that's just pumping. We pump too. But what I mean by protect our own is giving our creatures hexproof. If you cannot target, you cannot erase our board state. Muzzling Wanderer counters. You can't do nothing because we countered your instant or sorcery. We have Rattle Chains, gives hexproof. Drug School Captain gives hexproof. We play Spell Queller. Oh, you wanted to play a mana card? You want to play a spell? Oh no, it gets exiled. I'll get to that in a minute. The key point here is what separates spirits from everybody else is that we fly and we protect our own. I like that. I like that a lot. Now, my deck list, which I will put out later on this evening, okay? Because I actually have to set up for something else, my 50th episode. But I will post this a little later on for you guys so you can see my budget's Spirits deck. And I'll do the creatures first, and then I'll break down the creatures, then I'll break down the spells, and then my lands, and then sideboards, so on and so forth. So let's get ready. There's 36 total creatures in this deck. I'm running 4 Mausoleum Wanderers, 2 Spectral Sailors, 4 Watcher of the Spheres. Now, I know some of you are like, what? Remember, this is budget. 4 Rattle Chains, 4 Shacklegeist, 4 Supreme Phantoms, 4 Drug School Captain, 4 Skyclave Apparition, 4 Spell Queller, and 2 Kira, the Great Glass Spinner. Now, I know some of you are like, oh, hold on. What the hell is going on here, Dwight? Well, all these cards, I'm going to be honest with you, are less than $10. Yeah. Even Kira, the Great Glass Spinner, currently is at $6. So all of them are less than $10. So this fits. And if you notice, all these cards are all the same cards that you would normally see in our non-budgetary Azorius deck. And if you wanted to go to Bant, a lot of them transpose over. Wonderful. Now, if you're an ongoing listener and you've been playing Spirit for a while, I know some of you going, Watcher of the Spheres, what the hell's going on here? And the reason why, ladies and gentlemen, it is a substitute for Aether Vial. Aether Vial currently is about $30 at its cheapest. Okay? That means that somebody decided to take a lizard cage and clean that card, take that card to clean the lizard cage, or decided to sit there and mop the floor with it. Okay? But this is a simple, humble substitute. Yes, it's not a spirit, but let's take a look at it. Watcher of the Spheres is a white and a blue, a 2/2 bird wizard. Unfortunately, we wish it's a spirit, but it's a bird wizard. It has flying. Now, what makes this thing sing, the reason why I put it in here as a substitute for Aether Vial is this reason. Creature spells with flying you cast cost 1 generic mana less to cast. So, Rattle Chains cost 1 less to play. Supreme Phantom, 1 less. Drug School Captain, 1 less. Skyclave Apparition, 1 less. So basically, all our creatures are basically 2 mana creatures. Our 2 mana creatures are now 1 mana creatures, and our 1 mana creatures stay our 1 mana creatures. So it makes our mana base more proficient. Isn't the whole reason why we play Aether Vial? If you didn't listen to a previous episode that I had discussing Aether Vial, there are 3 major things you got to consider with Aether Vial. Number 1, it is free mana that's being built up that you can use that you're not using your regular mana base for. Number 2, you can tap the Aether Vial to use it as a flash ability. So, for example, creatures like Kira the Great Glassbringer, Skyclave Apparition, Drug School Captain that don't have flash, the Aether Vial gives pseudo flash. And then finally, these cards cannot be countered. Unfortunately, we're screwed on that end. We're screwed on this end because with the budget build, yeah, they can be countered. But remember, this is a budget build. People who end up loving the tribe will end up investing more money into it, and then they will buy their Aether Vials. But I'm not done with the Watcher of Spheres, because there's another end paragraph. Okay, so it has flying, and creatures spells with flying you cast cost 1 generic mana less to play or cast. That's great. That's wonderful. Yay. Whenever another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, Watcher of the Spheres get a +1/+1 until end of turn. So basically, it is Mausoleum Wanderer without the countering. It's Mausoleum Wanderer that makes all your flyers cheaper. How's that a bad thing? And especially if this is a budgetary build, it's a 2-for-1, ladies and gentlemen. You basically, what you hope and pray for is turn 1 Mausoleum Wanderer, turn 2 Watcher of the Spheres, and then let your deck sing. Let the synergy fly. Delicious, right? So those are the reasons why those 2 substitutes were put in. Kira the Great Glass Spinner, and the Watcher of the Spheres. But we're going to still go through the deck. I discussed on a previous episode Mausoleum Wanderer. For those who don't know, who are new novices to the spirits, every time a spirit comes into play, you can get a +1/+1 counter on it until end of turn. Now, whatever its toughness, or hold on, let me make sure I got this right. I want to bring this correctly up. It's basically sacrifice Mausoleum Wanderer, counter target instant or sorcery unless its controller pays X, where X is the Mausoleum Wanderer's power. So, if your opponent is casting a spell, you sacrifice Mausoleum Wanderer, the opponent has to pay 2 more extra mana if it's at 2 power. If it's at 3 power, they have to pay 3. If it's at 4, they have to pay 4. You get the point? That's the wonderful thing about Mausoleum Wanderer. This is something that I know for a fact that many Merfolk players wish they had. Now, I mentioned before, Spectral Sailor. Spectral Sailor, it has flash, it has flying, and it's a 1/1 creature. The cool thing about it is, if you have nothing in your hand, you're completely drawn out and there's nothing you can do, there's no flash, no nothing, it's a mana sink. Now, I know some of you are like, mana what? No, you don't put your dishes on top of the Spectral Sailor and hope he washes them. No. What I mean by mana sink is that what happens is, if you're not using your mana, at the end of your turn, you tap 3 and 1, you get to draw a card. So you're not losing value. You're not losing anything by tapping your mana. You're actually generating something, and that's drawing a card. That's the benefit of Spectral Sailor. It's not one of the best spirits in the world, but it's definitely one of the more proficient ones that we are using that can benefit when, we have nothing else to do. Then comes Rattlechains. Rattlechains is it has flash and flying, a blue and a 1 for a 1/1. Basically comes into play, target spirit gets hexproof. And when you cast a spirit spell, you can play them as if they have flash. So it's a pseudo lord. I know some spirit players are out there like, again with the pseudo lord. I got some. It was kind of funny. The community on Reddit and even on the Discord, it was 50-50. Yeah, it's a lord. Yeah, it's not a lord, but it's a pseudo lord. And other people are like, it's not a lord at all. What are you talking about? It doesn't give, it doesn't give all spirits flash. I was like, well, you may cast spirit spells as though they had flash. Just saying. What's the difference? Then comes Shacklegeist. One of the few cards that I actually slept on, then realized later on as I'm playing it how powerful it is. Came from Core Set 2021. Shacklegeist is a generic in 1 blue, 2/2 spirit with flying. Now, the thing that sucks, that it can only block creatures with flying. But realistically, we're never going to use Shacklegeist to block ever. The whole point of Shacklegeist is its last ability, or last sentence, shall we? Let's look at it. Tap 2 untapped spirits you control, tap target creature you don't control. So you tap a spirit and Shacklegeist, guess what happens, ladies and gentlemen? Whatever creature, that big fatty that's going to attack you, it's not going to do nothing. It's going to stay tapped. So you know how we struggle sometimes with Primeval Titan in those Amulet Titan decks? Oh, you know what? I'm going to tap it before during your prior to your attack phase. It can't attack. Oh, you played Through the Breach? Oh, and there's Emrakul? Sorry, my friend. That 15/15 does nothing. It stays tapped. Sounds wonderful, right? Then comes Supreme Phantom, one of the few cards that actually I fell in love with and made this deck completely viable. And what Supreme Phantom does is a generic in a blue. It's a 1/3, so it has a big booty. And basically, it has flying and gives all other spirits you control +1/+1. So it's a lord. This is a true lord. Not like the pseudo lord of Rattlechains. Then comes, I don't know which one I want to do first. You know what? I'm going to go with Skyclave Apparition. I'll say my homie last. Skyclave Apparition. Now, for the newer player, this makes spirits unbelievable. Makes spirits great. Let me read to you. It's a generic and 2 white mana. When Skyclave Apparition enters the battlefield, exile up to one target non-land, non-token permanent you do not control with converted mana cost of 4 or less. When Skyclave Apparition leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner creates a XX blue illusion token, where X is the converted mana cost of that exiled card. So basically, if there's a big creature on the board, let's say a 4 mana creature on the board that's bothering you, or a permanent that's not a land or is not a token, it goes away, goes bye-bye, never to be seen again. And even if they kill the Skyclave Apparition, they're just going to get the mana value of it. How can you beat that? That's wonderful. Think about it. Turn 3, I hate to say it that way, but turn 3, you can play it just right out of your hands, or hopefully you have the Watcher of the Spheres and you're only paying 2 white mana for it. Sounds really good, right? And then comes Spell Queller. Spell Queller is one of those cards that I told you that some people have difficulty playing with because they don't understand the power of the Spell Queller. Let me read it to you. 1 generic, a white and a blue, spirit, flash flying, and it's a 2/3. When Spell Queller enters the battlefield, exile target spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. When Spell Queller leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner may cast that card without paying its mana cost. So unlike Skyclave Apparition, they get that card back and they get to cast it for free. Now, for some of you out there, like, well, how does this work? How's this beneficial to me wanting to play spirits? Well, let me explain it to you this way. It's a counter spell without countering. Let that sink in. It's a counter spell without countering. So basically, they cast a spell, a 4 or less, you like, I'm going to pseudo counter it. I'm playing my Spell Queller that goes underneath the Spell Queller. And until you kill my Spell Queller, that spell's never going to get cast. And the benefit that we can give our creatures hexproof, that means they can't target our Spell Quellers or other spirits. That makes it super tough. And then comes my friend Drug School Captain. Came on my very first episode. Drug School Captain, 1 generic, a white and a blue, 2/2, flying creature. Other spirits you control get +1/+1 and have hexproof. They can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponent controls. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, it is nothing more than a Supreme Phantom with protection. Now, how can you beat that? I love protection. Protect me all you want. But that's what makes it wonderful. Now, if you didn't think you had enough protection, oh no. I decided to get even crazier. I decided, you know what? It's time to add Kira the Great Glass Spinner. That's right, Kira the Glass Spinner, because she's only $6. And Kira the Great Glass Spinner is a generic and 2 blue legendary spirit with flying and is a 2/2. Now, for those that are new to the Spirit Tribe, listen to this and it's wonderful. You're like, oh, I love for spirits from this point on. You ready? Creatures you control, whenever this creature becomes the target of spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. Let that sink in. When this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability for the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. That's an instant counter spell. It's an instant counterspell on a body. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Burn guy. What do you want to do? Oh, you want a lightning bolt? No, that gets countered. You want to do it? No. This is your first spell? No, it's not going to happen. And the fact that you give your creatures hexproof? Yeah, that's super. That's super protection. Okay, that's like having a house, and basically you have a security system, and then you have a moat. Then not only do you have a moat, you have a minefield past the moat, and then you have elephants and swordmen in front of the minefield. It's ridiculous. It's stupid wonderful. Yes, and I use the term stupid wonderful. So those are the creatures. Now, spell-wise, I only put in one type of spell, made 3 of them. Because right now, I have to admit, Modern is in a very quick place. Very quick. One way we can deal with this is using one particular spell. Unfortunately, I wish it was an instant, but we were told during the creation of Modern Horizons 2 that it was an instant. They took it away because it was too powerful. And that's Prismatic Ending, which is an X and 1 sorcery with Converge. Exile target non-permanent. Its mana value is less than or equal to the number of colors mana spent to cast a spell. So since we're playing Azorius, that means 2. So if 2 mana or less creature, permanent, non-land permanent, goes away. So if they cast a Ragavan, gone, exiled. They're playing, let's say, Amulet of Vigor, gone forever. Death Shadow, gone forever. Shall we continue? And putting 3 in this deck? How are you going to complain? We already have Skyclave Apparition that does 4 or less. This is just backup with, 2 or less. And having 3 in there? What's there to complain about? Now comes our land base. Now the land base was a little tough for me. Because, of course, we're so used to having Cavernous Souls, and we're used to having like 3 in there, and then having our Horizon lands, and then our Fetch lands, and then our Quick lands, and so on and so forth. Well, all those are over $10. All of them are over $10. So I have 21 land, just like I did with the normal build. So I put in 4 Hallowed Fountains. Now you're going to go, wait, that's a dual land. Well, those are $10 a piece currently. I put 4 Misty Gate, Hinge Gate Pathways. Those are the flippy lands from Kaldheim. Of course, we're going to need to put in 2 Moorland Haunt because we know that spirits, our spirits tend to die, but we like to have backup, and you know what helps? Shuckle guys, those tokens. Then you have 2 Unclaimed Territory. We just say spirits, and they provide us whatever mana we need. So it's like a very, 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 did I say the word very? Weak version of Cavernous Souls that doesn't give our creatures uncounterable. Then 4 island, 4 plains, and then 1 Waterlogged Grove. Now, Waterlogged Grove currently is a $7.50 card Horizon land, meaning that if you pay 1 generic mana, you tap it, you sacrifice it, you get to draw a card. Now, I wanted to put more in there, but I was like, you know what? Let's not get selfish. I figure 1 is good in there for now. We don't want to cause too much damage to ourselves. Let it be. So as you see, ladies and gentlemen, I made it a lot cheaper. And I hate to say, most of the money, most of the value is caught in the lands and the Aether Vials. And then in the sideboard is where it gets, still $10 or less. I put in 2 Kentucky Wars Wage because, of course, what's going on with the artifacts. There's a lot of artifact play right now, especially with Hammer Time. Now with Affinity becoming a thing, kind of scary. I put 2 Eidolon of the Rhetoric because why? Because Eidolon, first of all, even though it doesn't have flying, it does have a huge booty, a 1/4. But it makes sure that players can't cast more than 1 spell a turn, which actually helps us out. Because realistically, in this budget build, it's a fair deck. And what's not fair is our opponent over exceeding what they're doing. So we want to make sure we keep the game fair. Then we have 2 Dampening Sphere. Of course, we use that for that wonderful evil deck out there. I can't believe I forgot Tron. But also, it slows down decks so they can, they have to spend an extra mana to do another, cast another spell that turn. So, it slows down, I forgot the name of this thing where they keep on playing card after card after card after card. Ah, damn it. Oh, well. If I remember later, I'll mention it. But Dampening Sphere is a moral imperative in these sideboards. Then comes Rest in Peace. Why Rest in Peace, ladies and gentlemen? Because when have we not seen Modern have some type of graveyard shenanigans? They always have graveyard shenanigans. Then we have 2 Sanctifier Invec. Another card that deals with the graveyard. And the fact that it has protection from red and black, how are we going to complain? Now, I wish this was a spirit cleric, but it's a human cleric. So, our opponents may find a unique way of dealing with it. But if we have Kira the Great Glass Spinner, nope. Then 2 Portable Hole. I just figured, you know what? Doesn't hurt to sit there and get rid of more stuff on the battlefield of 2 or less. And then finally, Void Mirror. 3 Void Mirror. The reason why I put 3 Void Mirror, ladies and gentlemen, is because the fact of these elemental decks, man. Like, I understand that right now that Hammer Time is the best deck in the format. But let me just tell you, this Titan Tribal, it's crazy insane. And the best way to slow it down is Void Mirror. And there's really nothing they can do except for play Foundation Breaker. Or deal with Foundation Breaker. That's it. So, well, how do we deal with that? Void Mirror. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's my breakdown of my budget deck. Tell me what you think. Did I do a good job, a bad job? Reach out to me at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. I would like to hear from you. And if you're a new person going, hey, I want to get in spirits. I like this deck. Can you give me more pointers? Don't worry about it. You got persons like me, Andre Segarra, and all the others out there that are providing enough spirit content to sit there and help the new player and the old player. Now, my final thing I want to say is there's one card. There's one particular card that I see a lot of players going, holy crap, that card's super expensive, and maybe I should make that the first card I purchase. and that's Force of Negation. I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. I like Force of Negation. Big fan of Force of Negation. I think it's the only card, honestly, that really keeps Modern humble. Because there's a lot of combo decks out there that can cause so much shenanigans that if it wasn't for Force of Negation, I really think Modern would really be in a bad position. But as we see right now, it's an open format. Anything and everything can happen. Now, if you're a new player getting into Spirits, do yourself a favor. Save that card for last. Do not buy Force of Negation immediately. I know it may go up in value in the future, and you want to get it now while it's cheap. I don't know. $100 is, $100. What is it? Maybe $125. I'm not going to say that card is cheap. No, I'll never say that. It's an expensive money card. Oh, it's at $90.71 according to TCG Player. But still, not cheap. I'd rather, if you really like the tribe, Spirit Tribe, I'd rather you come in and focus on the main deck itself. I want you to see the consistency of how it plays. I want you to see the symmetry that plays. There is synergy in this deck that just makes Spirits sing and makes it one of the best tribes out in Magic the Gathering. And I'd rather you have a great time focusing in with that than just focusing on one particular card that's just terribly expensive. And realistically, rarely, I'd say it gets used maybe less than 20% of the time. I would like to say it gets used about 15% of the time. So do yourself a favor, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a new player and you're listening to this show and going, thank you, Dwight, for the budget suggestion. Thank you for explaining to me how Spirits plays, so on and so forth. Thank you. Do me a favor. Force of Negation. Wait for it. You don't need it right away. There's good substitutes out there. Hell, if you looked at the sideboard I gave you, that's a solid sideboard right there. That you don't need Force of Negation. So that's the end of segment number 1. Now in segment number 2, I want to discuss with you the future of MTG Ectoplasm. Now, thanks to my wonderful wife, the Ravishing Renata, she has helped me through this whole thing, and she has been my motivation. And I say that with love. She's given me ideas. She helped me, she's like demanded me do this episode. But she said, you need to go out. You need to do more. People are listening. You have their attention. Give them more. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you're aware, but within the last, let's say 2 weeks, my wife has been slowly posting many of my past episodes onto YouTube. You don't see my image. You just see a new intro screen, what the topic is, and then little post screen. And all it is this show that you hear. So if you were looking to have something going on in the background on your TV, if you're at a card shop and go, hey, listen to this guy, blah, 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 and you can see it there on YouTube, you can do that. She has been posting 2 episodes a day. One, I believe, at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, and 12 o'clock, and then in the afternoon, and then 12 o'clock in the evening, at midnight, noon and midnight. And we're doing this, ladies and gentlemen, because in the near future, I'm hoping starting after my 50th episode, my 51st episode, we will begin posting, if everything works according to plan, my 51st episode, you will begin seeing me live or recorded for your YouTube pleasure. Now, I know some of you are like, well, Dwight, what's going to happen with the audio? Are you going to still be on Spotify? Are you still going to be on Apple and Google podcasts? Guess what? I'm not leaving those podcasts. You found me. I'm not leaving you, the loyal listener. The thousands and thousands of you. I'm not leaving you at all. I 100% appreciate you. No matter if you're from the US, Canada, Brazil, Israel, Pakistan, Chile, Colombia, Peru, Uruguay, France, so on and so forth, Malaysia, China. Wherever you're listening to me, thank you. And I'm not leaving you. I just want to spread my wings a little bit more so people can get more of the spirit content. We have a good thing here, ladies and gentlemen, and we want spirits to grow and thrive. So with the assistance of my wife and my friends at Rec Productions, that's Rect, W-R-E-C-K, the letter D, productions.com, we will be filming my 50th episode live at their studios. I will be filming August 16th, which is tomorrow, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I've been telling you this over and over again. And I have a special guest that I'm bringing to the show. And now here it is. I hope you're ready, ladies and gentlemen. Because the special guest that I'm bringing in will be Andre Segarra, the Spirit Master. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. I told you that I was bringing a master to the show, and I am a man of my word, and I'm bringing Andre Segarra, the Spirit Master. He's going to come to the show. I'm going to ask him questions, and hopefully you like it, you enjoy it. So hopefully you will follow me August 16th, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You will see me on hopefully YouTube and or Twitch. I want you to mostly focus on that Twitch, and you'll follow me at MTG Ectoplasm channel. Okay, so remember MTG Ectoplasm channel on Twitch, 9:30 a.m. I will be interviewing Andre Segarra. And of course, we will be not talking about tiddlywinks. We will not be talking about apples to apples or exploding kittens. We will be talking about, is it exploding kittens? Yeah, exploding kittens. We will be talking about Magic the Gathering and spirits. All right? So hopefully now you know the future. If you want to go to my YouTube right now, go to YouTube, put in MTG Ectoplasm. You will start seeing more episodes posted. My wife is sitting here next to me. When will this episode be posted on YouTube? I think Thursday of this week. Okay, so this episode that you're hearing, unfortunately, on YouTube, you will see it on Thursday. This episode you will hear today when I finish streaming this stopped recording this episode. So that's all I have to say about that for segment number 2. And hopefully you will join me in the future, my near future, of expanding the show and growing this, thanks to you, the listener, for reaching out to me on Twitter, and through my email at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. And I want to thank all of you. I 100% appreciate it. And please donate. Please, I need donations because I need to update my equipment. My wife is like killing me over here. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for segment number 3. And that's the shout out section, where I'm looking for the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the creme de la creme. Did you make it? I hope so. So, as I normally do, I'm going to start in historic. Now, unfortunately, as you know and I know, we both know, and everybody else listening in the background, Wati doesn't really tell us who the individual is. But I'm going to still shout you out no matter what, because the fact that you need recognition, and if you know who you are, you know I'm your cheerleader. August 9th, this player was using a Bant build. In historic, now listen to that, historic August 9th, using a Bant build. And it was a a platinum mythic rank player. Now I know some of you are like, well, Dwight, usually it's that mono blue snow build. You're right. But this individual decided to go with Realm Walker and Collected Company in that historic build. Pretty interesting. I'm going to try to look this build up so I can do an episode on it. So for those who play Arena and do historic, we can discuss a little something. You know what I mean? Now in Pioneer, August 10th, in the first place finish with an Azorius build, Nordis. Happy Nordis is back. On August 12th, an individual went 5-0 with a Bant build in a Pioneer League. And that's Ichiroku. Well, congratulations, guys, for kicking ass in Pioneer. Now, in Modern, both of these players kicked ass on August 13th. First player is with a 5-0 Azorius build in my Modern League, Raging Pikey. That's right. Raging Pikey's being consistent here. He's kicking ass. Congratulations, Raging Pikey. Then comes another 5-0 finish with a Bant build in the Modern League. The one, the only, Dr. Queller. Congratulations, guys, for kicking ass in Modern. Now, if you're listening to the show, and I know thousands of you right now are listening to the show domestically and worldwide, and if you did not hear your name, that doesn't mean I'm not cheerleading for you as well. I guarantee you will get to this 5-0 finish or 4-0 finish, or you'll get to first place, and I will shout you out on this station, on this channel, on this podcast. There's a moderator that does the he's the admin for the Facebook spirits for Modern and Pioneer, and he always gets these 4-1s and 3-1s. I want to shout him out, but for that you gotta be the top of the you gotta be the best of the best, and I'm rooting for that individual, as I'm rooting for you, ladies and gentlemen. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done. I got no more for you. What I'm going to ask you kindly is be kind to one another. Treat each other well. And when you're sitting there playing Magic the Gathering, make your opponent say, that's bullshit. See you guys next time. And remember, August 16th, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch, MTG Ectoplasm channel, Andre Segarra, the Spirit Master. That's right, Spirit Master. Come and watch my show. Wow! See you guys next time.